Yeah, back in my town. Bye bye Wollongong, thanks for the memories. Plenty of bloody memories. And one day of absolutely magical weather and tons of good racing. And yeah, heaps of content. Could have been a lot more, and maybe that'll be a theme of today's chat while I ride my bicycle. I've got a suspicion it's going to start pouring down on this ride, so I'll try and get my thoughts out before I'm soaked. I alluded to there being some bad things about the World Championships in an earlier video. And I'm reluctant to explain it, but I think it's necessary. Zen. Just... Negative. Shall we go? Number one, AusCycling's mismanagement. Well, pretty much of everything, to be honest. To me, everything. For me, their mismanagement of the media impacted my content collection dramatically. So we'll start with that. There was a rainbow this morning when I was suiting up and getting ready for my ride, and that felt pretty positive. Then I went outside onto the streets of Sydney and negative. Now it's raining, right now. I don't care. I've got good spirits, but I've got a lot to complain about. And it's all just been festering in my mind while I've just been, that's to say, biting my tongue. Now it's really getting quite heavy rain. That's okay. So the media, right? I said the mismanagement, and by that I mean total shambolic joke of an opportunity to achieve publicity. Hopelessly, woefully, dismally, deliberately mismanaged. For years I've been lamenting missed opportunities by the governing body of my sport in this country. And then a few years ago, there was this campaign to lobby for this new entity called AusCycling, and it was going to be great, and it was going to change. It was going to, as Duncan Murray, the chairman at the time, kept saying, it was going to just blow up the whole administration and begin again. They didn't. And it's been a theme that's front and center of my mind for years, because if cycling prospered more, my business would be bigger. I would have a bigger audience and possibly more income. Whew, I didn't mean for this. I was going to be real calm about this, but anyway, I've got to keep going. I've got to explain the situation. And to be honest, the situation's not pretty. So, and the more detail I give, the more upset I'm going to be and the more tangents I can go on. But when it relates to the World Championships, here's the deal, right? I found out 12 months ago that the Australian team was going to stay at Sage Hotel. And I'd stayed there during a recce in August while, you know, previewing the course for the World Championships. It was an initiative that I thought of myself, and I was pleased that I went ahead and did it, because up until then I was going to commute to Wollongong. But then I thought, well, this is a great place, it's right near the finish, I'm going to invest in it. And it was a considerable investment. I found a room, thanks to Sage Hotels Wollongong, and it was wonderful. It's a great location, I highly recommend staying there. Now, I was on the 7th floor, which was basically where a lot of the Australian riders were also staying on the 7th floor of my hotel. Great, you would assume. That should give you pretty bloody good access, Rob. And I reckon you would assume correctly with that. Now, they had a media call on the Friday before the championships, okay? A media call before the Worlds began. I went down on the Thursday, collected my accreditation, got a lay of the land, got an understanding of if I'd be able to access the place by car. So that's what I did, and I didn't go back on Friday because my plan was to go for the time trial on Sunday and stay from there through till the Monday afterwards. So I was there Sunday till Monday on the same floor as the Australian team riders, in the same hotel as the as AusCycling crew. Marnie and everyone, I understand. I never saw her again after that meeting where she lifted a badge and introduced herself like that. She's a busy lady, I respect that, I do. I was busy too, like I had heaps of things I wanted to do. At every opportunity that existed to achieve a little bit of positive media outcome from my trip with the Australian team, at every opportunity, it was slammed shut. When I went to collect my accreditation on the Thursday before the Worlds, I came out of the accreditation building, which was like the Wynn Entertainment Centre or something, and I sighted for the first time for years an old mate of mine, Rory Sutherland. I knew him when he was a junior. I knew him when he was an under-23 with the Rabobank team. I knew him when he went through a doping violation suspension. I knew him when he made his comeback with an American team, and I knew him when he became a father and all sorts of things. And we've talked pretty much regularly over the last 20 years. So when I saw him approaching, I said to him, "G'day, Rory, how are you?" And he said, "Yeah, not too bad." And I said, "Well, I'm going back to Sydney now, but I'll be back on Sunday and I'll be staying at your hotel. We should catch up." And he nodded and off he went. And I went on my way. Then I started my drive back to Sydney on the Thursday before the Worlds. If you're following all this, thank you. Then, as I was driving back to my office, I kept getting these text messages, a couple. I felt it in my pocket. I didn't look and I waited till I got to the office. And then they read, "Rob, good to see you. To be clear, all interviews with the Australian cycling team have to be managed through Xavier Cordier, who was one of three media guys that AusCycling had operating in the media room during the Worlds in subsequent days." So I contacted Xavier directly and I said, "Look, I'm going to be in Wollongong. Let's do some stuff. It's a positive opportunity for some great media and I've made a commitment to be there. So can I please arrange access to the riders and the staff to do some interviews?" Many things transpired, but the upshot is this: not one interview was arranged, not once. I passed the bike riders in the hotel so many times, saying g'day to Jai Hindley, saying hello to Simon Clark, yo to Heinrich Hausler, who was just fantastically friendly all of the time because that's his nature. I saw Michael Matthews numerous times, and I hung out with his wife and his mum on race day, and I just think they're just fabulous people. I saw Grace Brown in the lift a couple of times. I said hello to Brodie Chapman. Honestly, there was just bike riders everywhere, and I saw them often. Don't talk to them, I was told, and I respected that. Don't interview them, they say. Don't interview them. There's no interviews unless arranged, so I respected that. I did say hello, and I did say how are you, and I did say good to see you, and did say good luck. But I never ever, not once, did an interview. After the time trial on the opening day, when Grace Brown, the Australian time trial champion, came second and got Australia's first medal of the championships, I noted that she'd been riding an Australian coloured or an Australian team-themed La Pierre bicycle. And I said, wow, Xavier, that looked great. Can I please have that bike and do a little story? I only need it for 10 minutes. I need to film it and then maybe potentially even talk to Grace about it. And then we can do a story of my bike because I think it'd be fantastic. I got an email the next day saying, tickety-boo, all's arranged. We'll see you in a little while. See you at 12. I was like, great. I've got time. I've got a studio on the 7th floor of the Sage Hotel. I've got my lighting. Let's shoot this bike. 30 minutes later or so, I get another text message from Xavier saying, listen, sorry about this, but the bike's been packed away. The mechanics put it away and it'll take 2 hours to reassemble it and they don't have the time to do that. And I wrote back very politely saying, no stress, buddy. We've got plenty of opportunities. We've got many more days of this championship to go. Let's make sure that we do something positive. I'm pissed off that I didn't get to do the story of Grace's bike. I'm pissed off I never got to talk to Grace Brown about her silver medal, other than the media opportunities in the press room, surrounded by all other people, all other nations, asking questions like, how was your time in Wollongong? But I dealt with it. I was like, whatever, these things happen, in time. Grace is a lovely person. I'm sure we'll get to talk. But it's indicative of how they approach me. I don't know if they treat all the media like that, and I can't make a sweeping statement about AusCycling's management of every media outlet, but I can say there is a vindictive, personalised, strange behaviour from that team, and no matter how much goodwill I try to express, such as my phone call to Marnie Fetchin on the first day of her tenure as CEO, to say, I'm here, there's been a disturbing history of strange management of cycling in Australia, and I would really like to fill you in on it, and I would really like to issue a peaceful gesture to say, let's work together, let's collaborate, let's make cycling better in Australia. That was on day one of Marnie Fetchin's tenure in February 2020. It has gone doof, 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 ever since. And it's not because of me and my rantings. I refrain from saying all that I know about AusCycling. Believe me. I have so many more things I could say, but I've been resist, because I don't want to be negative. But it's pretty hard when it comes to that organisation. My battery's running low, and I don't want to make this at all about me. It's not at all about me. It's about the mismanagement of another golden opportunity to give good coverage to cycling in Australia. And it's done so, I think, by design. I know that AusCycling would really like to increase its presence on the internet. I know that they would like to have increased traffic to their website and to their portal, and to therefore showcase what they have to offer and then ideally attract new members. And the way that they're doing that is by isolating other media, by personalising it, by restricting and limiting opportunities for exposure by other outlets so that they can enhance their content output. That's great. They had 3 people accredited in the press room. The World Championship said there was a limit of 3, so they maxed out. That's another story for another time. Let's not even talk about that story that you've probably heard about right now. But going back to the Australian cycling team and the way they just entirely ignored my requests for interviews throughout the championships, and then never once apologised at the end of it to say, listen, sorry, we should have had done better. We should have given you some opportunities to talk to some of the bike riders who are now all basically gone. Michael Matthews flew out yesterday back to Europe for more racing. I stood around him like a sap, not able to talk to him because I was told don't talk, don't do an interview. So I respected that, thinking at some point I'm going to get that opportunity. He was willing to talk. He's a good mate. I've known him for a long time. And I'm really proud of what he did. And I can't believe the way that he achieved that medal, not knowing if he was sprinting for 15th or 3rd place or whatever, and he got a medal, and it was bloody incredible. And Michael, and everyone, really, all of the riders, really, I'm so proud of what you did. We didn't get a gold medal and it didn't get a rainbow jersey, and that doesn't matter at all to me. It was about the opportunity to showcase how bloody beautiful this sport is, and you guys did a fantastic job. Unfortunately, your federation, AusCycling, let you down. And they did so in numerous ways, so many of which I haven't yet mentioned in this rant because it would just go for hours and hours and hours. And I will also say that it's really important to point this out. Every time I publish something about AusCycling, every time, either be it positive or negative, and it's usually negative because they're just hopelessly inept, I will say. Every time I do, I get a chorus of emails. I get messages from in all forms. Well, there's many stories shared with me about malcontent with the management of cycling in Australia. It's not just me. It's not just about the media. It's not just about access to bike riders at the World Championships. It's about this ongoing animosity that's created by a management that has no regard for the membership, that is so busy trying to court certain sponsors, and I know how they're doing it, that they dismiss everything else that could happen. They're so accustomed to eking out government funding that they don't even think about the opportunity to increase exposure so that they can get, therefore, legitimate sponsors. My phone's ringing. I'll talk to you in a minute. This rant was interrupted by an opportunity to do an interview about UCI Bike City with ABC Radio in Ballarat. They're pretty keen on getting that status, and I can understand why. Anyway, the thing is, what happened on the weekend is an opportunity to generate publicity, positive publicity, like what I just experienced with the host of the Ballarat breakfast program on the radio, to talk about cycling and to say it's a bloody unreal thing to do. Now, if AusCycling can't get their act together and take advantage of a time when the government has heavily invested in cycling exposure, when the public is keen to learn more about cycling, when membership growth potential is enormous, if they can't use this time to create a better, more functional organisation that encourages cycling of all kinds, then they should stop doing what they're doing and they should give that responsibility to someone who is more capable. Marnie, I keep being told to wait, to be patient, to work with you. I try very hard, but I don't understand why there's such animosity because I've reported on cycling. That's basically what it boils down to. I've been negative when there's been negative things to say, but in the years that I've reported on cycling in Australia, which has been over 30 years, I can say, I've been far more positive than negative. It's just that I've become more outspoken and more frustrated the longer that the mismanagement has gone. If AusCycling doesn't want me to talk to their riders, I have to live with it. I would love to share their stories. I would love to have told you more about their commitment to finding peak form and what they learned from the race and many other things that we could have spoken about. But I never got that opportunity. It was never given to me, despite me having done everything I could to be in the right place at the right time to take advantage of it. And it's highly offensive. And that's one of the negative things I've got to say about the Worlds. There is a lot more detail that could go into this rant, but that's a quick overview. To the riders again, unreal. Oh, it was unreal. It was unreal. Grace, superstar. Absolutely fantastic. Hamish, your silver medal in the juniors. Blah. And then to see you come back in the road race, crash, and then still try and soldier on. Utterly unreal. I can't wait to see what happens with your career. To everyone who turned out and cheered the riders, thanks. It was a It was a carnival atmosphere. I knew it would be big, and it was. It could have been a hell of a lot bigger, but it was magic on the Sunday and the Saturday on the final weekend of the championships. And to be truthful, for the rest of the championships, it was great as well. Wollongong did a fantastic job. They sacrificed a lot and they made it happen. And we should all be proud, but we should also question why it is that taxpayer-funded organisations like AusCycling go head-to-head with private, small businesses like mine and bully them into submission. I'm not going to back down. I'm going to keep talking about cycling like I've always done, and I'm going to keep saying, ride your bike, it's bloody unreal. But I'm also going to say when I'm annoyed, and I'm really annoyed at the moment, by the treatment that I received by an organisation that's meant to promote cycling but does everything in its power to not do that. It's upsetting. That's what it is. Thanks heaps for watching. I will show you more of the rides around Wollongong, and I will show you more other positive stuff, I promise. And I don't enjoy doing these rants, but I think it's important to highlight when something is being mismanaged. I hope you understand what I'm saying, and we'll just leave it at that, okay? Cheers. Bye.